Mark Rogers TV getting you set for National Signing Day, just about 12 to 13 days away at this point, and we're diving into the ACC with North Carolina and Jeff Greenberg from inside the ACC. Jeff, it's been a while. How you been?
Good, Mark. It's a busy football season, busy holiday season, but it's good to talk to you.
So North Carolina, in what has become a very balanced and difficult division, has won a championship 2 years removed, but this season obviously came very close to doing the same and going back to back in the Atlantic Division, or in the Coastal Division. So looking at the recruits that look to be firmly locked into Larry Fedora's program for the next 3 to 4 years, how does it look at this point?
It looks pretty good right now. There's not a lot of surprises because I feel like the staff kind of really worked this class early and often. I don't think there's a lot of names that they're chasing down the last 2 weeks, the home stretch. Every team's trying to hold on to what they have. But in terms of adding to it, you're probably only going to see one or two, maybe three new names pop up. But as it stands now, they're ranked anywhere from 20th to 25th, depending on the outlet that you look at in terms of the rankings nationally. Usually in that same ranking, third, fourth in the ACC, which is good. When you're battling Clemson and Florida State, and then Louisville, UNC, and Miami kind of fall in that mix below them. Very similar classes if you look at how the players are rated. They've got 19 commits right now. Again, they're probably looking to take one, maybe two more, depending on how things shake out. And that's if they keep all the 19 they're looking at. Really, they're trying to hold on to 11 because 8 of those guys are already in school. They enrolled early. 6 4-star guys, 12 3-star guys. The number of 4-stars is right about near the top of what Larry Fedora has been able to accomplish, so that's good. And, when you're looking at the class, the names that pop out, they did really well in North Carolina. They got, 5 or 6 out of the top 15 in the state, including the top player in Jonah Melton, who's offensive guard. Jake Lawler, defensive end, is in the top 10. CJ Cotman was a commit from Florida about a week or two ago. Great athlete that they were excited to get. Trey Shaw, another 4-star guy, cornerback out of Georgia. Wide receiver that they're excited about, J.T. Cawthon out of North Carolina, another top kid. And then rounding out those 4 stars is a receiver from Georgia named Tyler Smith, who they're trying to figure out due to injury if he's going to come in or a gray shirt and come in next January. That was news that kind of broke this week that they're working on. So that could affect, again, who they chase this last 2 weeks. I think if you're looking for names that may pop in the next couple of weeks, the ones they're chasing down, 2 running backs from Florida stand out that were just here last weekend in Chapel Hill for their official visit. A.J. Davis out of Florida and Tim Jordan out of Florida. Both running backs that they're looking at strongly. They need to add a running back with the departure of Elijah Hood, which they weren't necessarily expecting. So they're trying to add some depth in there and get some guys in. They did add a pretty exciting guy from Florida, Michael Carter, who is the USA Today Player of the Year in Florida. He enrolled in school in January, so he's already there, and he will battle for playing time immediately next year. They only have one scholarship running back with any experience, and that experience was very limited, so it's a wide-open race there.
Yeah, and looking within the state of North Carolina, it looks like Fedora's done a nice job of locking up the premium talent within the state. You mentioned Billy Ross, number 1 rated at the position in the state and overall in the state, I should say. And there's a number of other top 10 guys within the state of North Carolina. You mentioned Jonah Melton, ranked as 2nd in the state overall, regardless of position. He's 8th nationally at the guard position. Jake Lawler, number 4 in the state. Zach Gill as well, 7th rated in the state of North Carolina as a defensive tackle. And so North Carolina producing high school talent, and Larry Fedora able to keep it right there. So you mentioned some of the guys that are on the fence that you would like to bring in over the next 13 days. It's a top 20 to 25 class, as you mentioned. Do you think you're happy, and along with the Carolina Tar Heel Nation, with the way this is looking right now?
I think so. I think the first thing you look to is the staff happy. I think they are happy with the spots they're filling in terms of positions and where they want to fill positions. I think a few departures that happened early, with Elijah Hood, Mitch Trubisky, that may have altered some of the things they're looking at moving forward, which is in a way good because they had the majority of their class kind of already locked in. Gives them a little more freedom to go out there and look at things that they need because of those departures. Again, like every other school, they have to hold on to the commits they have, but it's still, with 8 of those 19 guys already in school. You mentioned some of them with Zach Gill and Lawler and Melton and Jordan Riley, Shaw. Those guys are already on campus, so that helps because you're not worried about them on signing day. The guys are looking at, again, the running backs they want to nail down. They're looking at another defensive back or a DB, Daz Newsome. He's been talked about with Devon Hunter as going to the same school. That's looking like they may not go to the same school. Hunter actually will announce his decision tomorrow. A lot of eyes are looking at Virginia Tech, UNC, and Florida for him. Newsome was just here on his official visit, and he was committed to Maryland. He decommitted from Maryland while in Chapel Hill, so you never know what that means. That would be a nice addition to the defensive backfield they're looking at to go along with the new DB coach, Terry Joseph. But again, I think right now they really want to get one of these running backs in. And then from a QB standpoint, again, like the running back position with Trubisky leaving early, which was not initially in the plans. If you really looked at everything last summer, they need to add a quarterback. If they don't, then they won't. They'll go with who they have, but don't be surprised to see them working the graduate transfer market right now.
Yeah, Jeff, you brought up Devin Hunter, correct?
Correct.
Out of Chesapeake. Yeah, he had gone on Twitter about a week ago and announced his final 6 choices. Obviously, Carolina in the mix. A kid that is a defensive back, 57th rated player in the country, according to Rivals. So he is way up there in regards to overall ranking. A 6'1" kid who had 71 total tackles, picked off a pass, 3 tackles for loss. A lot of huge schools looking at him, 6'1", 204. And yeah, it looks like his decision date, if he holds true to his word, is coming up this weekend.
Yep. And he, again, it's going to be a hard one for UNC. I see a lot of, he just came out of his official visit from Florida. And, as the kids do these days, he was tweeting about it nonstop all weekend. At the All-American game he was just in, they have a picture of him giving the VT symbol with his hand. So you never know what kids are doing. You never know how quickly they can change, or if they've even decided long ago and they just haven't said anything. The key there with North Carolina is, for a while, the thought was that him and Newsome would go to the same school. And that's where it would be interesting to see if that holds true. I think, if they can get one of those two, they'd be very happy adding that DB to the class. And in addition to one of the running backs they're chasing down, I don't think they'll get both. And I don't know if they're both going to go to the same school, but if they can get one of those two, that'd be big.
All right, Jeff Greenberg, along with our friends, the rest of our friends at Inside the ACC, Mike McDaniel and Justin Cates, doing a great job over there and helping me out tremendously. Jeff, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Mark. Always.